Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Welcome to the review of a piece that it was inevitable that I got my hands on at some point. Now please correct me if I'm wrong, leave me a comment, but I think that this is the cheapest automatic Seiko that money can buy. The prices for these SNKs do vary considerably. I was sure I spotted the cream dial one on Amazon for well under 50 bucks just before Christmas. They seem to have gone up a little bit since then. I'll leave the best prices I could find in the description of this video, but as always, do your own digging, do your own research for the best price. Now it should be noted that this little SNK800 is not bought as part of my future collection. I didn't buy it for myself. I bought it on behalf of a friend I work with called Nick. Now Nick currently has a Seiko 5 on his wrist. I'm going to pop a picture of it up just there, but I suggest that if you're squeamish, you look away now. My God, Nick, what did you do to that thing? Do you want to guess how old that watch is? No. No. It's only 6 years old. Now, in Nick's defense, he has renovated pretty much an entire house with that little Seiko 5 on his wrist, but there is a lesson in there. That is hardlex. That is not sapphire crystal. That's what hardlex looks like if you give it a good old beating over a number of years. So, be warned. Anyway, I saw that poor Seiko 5 on his wrist and a plan emerged. I said, why don't I buy the 809, get it in for review on the channel, Nick, and pass it on to you? So that's what's happening. Let's flip the camera and get into it. Bit of a classic this one today then, the Seiko SNK800 series field watch. So I bought this one on eBay, not on Amazon as I usually would. The price was a little better on eBay, but it came in a much nicer than I'm used to Seiko box, but with a photocopied instruction manual for the movement. So I guess it's a bit of a trade-off there. On Amazon you're getting the original Seiko packaging. On eBay you don't necessarily get that all the time. Very nice little box, but with an instruction manual. I'm in no doubt that this watch is in fact a genuine Seiko though. So today what are we going to do? We're going to do all the usual good stuff. We're going to do a loom shot, a movement accuracy report. Now in terms of wrist shots, I'm not actually going to size this one for my 7-inch wrist. I'm going to leave Nick with the dubious pleasure of wrangling one of these nasty little Seiko bracelets, but I am going to do a bit of a fashion show here. We're going to dress it up on ostrich and we're going to dress it down on a couple of NATO straps. Really, I think the NATO straps is going to be what this little watch is all about. Let's get on with it. This is the SNK800K1. We've got the black dial, we've got the sandblasted case, but it comes on this similarly sandblasted stainless steel metal bracelet. 37mm in diameter, we've got 18mm lug width, just under 11mm thick, so not thick at all. This one weighing in on the full unsized bracelet at 116 grams, so it's got a bit of a weight to it, but not all that much if I'm being honest. We've got a stainless steel case and bracelet, 316L of course. We've got a hardlex crystal. Now this is a dead flat hardlex crystal, which is Seiko's own proprietary glass. Now it's not as hard as sapphire as noted in the introduction, but it doesn't shatter, so I guess that is one benefit. Probably more of a benefit though for dive watches if we're being honest. We've got just such a pretty little face on this watch. Kind of a mixture of field and the Type B Flieger. We've got the hour markers on the inner ring and the minute markers there at 5-minute intervals on the outer ring. We've got a minute track out there as well, and obviously a kind of smoothed off bezel because it doesn't have the dive style bezel. The Seiko logo at the 12 o'clock along with the little Seiko 5 is applied. We've got a recessed crown here at the 4. There's a little nick underneath it to get your fingernail under that and pop it out without too much difficulties. So I popped the clasp there to give you a look at the see-through case back. So an entry-level Seiko piece used for about $60 with a see-through case back and an automatic movement. Can't be bad really, can it? Now this one contains the legendary 7S26. They've been making this movement since 1996. They have pumped out millions and millions of the things. It powers the vast majority of these smaller size Seiko 5s. It also powers the SKX 7, 9 and 013. It's a low beat 3K movement, 21,600 vibrations per hour, 6 ticks per second, 40-hour power reserve, and a stated accuracy of -20 to +40. Though I've had about 5 or 6 of these 7S26 through the channel now, and they've all performed much better than that. It should be noted it does not hack, it does not hand wind. Not a problem if it's an everyday watch, but might be a bit of a pain if you're only wearing this one occasionally. So I'll pop up a watch check chart running on this one. Can't argue with that, can you? This is mostly in the Wolf winder, which is my more accurate, if you will, of the two different winder systems that I've got. You see down the bottom there's a bit of plus or minus. I took it out of the winder, I left it on its back for a day, I left it on its side for a day. You can see the movement's unregulated. Apparently you can take the case back off these and they're fairly easy to regulate. Only 30 meters water resistance. I would actually be tempted to regulate this one, but you can't really argue within +3 per day from a basic entry-level Seiko movement. Well deserved the great reputation that these 7S26 have. Also well deserved is the reputation that Seiko's Loomy Bright Loom has. Pretty fantastic there, little dots on the hour indices, and we've got the sword hands with plenty of loom on them and the little reverse lollipop there. Not always easy to see where 12 is if the watch is on the side of your bedside cabinet perhaps, but if it's on the wrist that shouldn't be a problem. Seiko Loomy Bright really does punch well above its weight. Let's talk briefly, gentlemen, if we may, about size. Now size does matter, but perhaps it doesn't matter as much as you might think it does. This one is 37mm in diameter. A lot of people balk at these smaller Seiko 5s because they're just a little bit too small for their wrists. This little Seiko SNK, 42mm lug to lug, wears beautifully, wears very, very compactly. And I don't think it wears as small as that diameter dimension suggests. There it is next to my beloved Seiko SKX013. The SKX, I think they state it as a 38mm, but it looks pretty much the same as this SNK. I think because the SNK doesn't have a bezel, the dial does look a little bit wider. And there it is in an SKX sandwich, if you will, the 009 on the right hand side, giving you an idea what it looks like next to a 42.5. Now I don't think it looks all that small, relatively speaking, as I shall now demonstrate when I put it on the wrist. So that's what it looks like on my 7-inch wrist, and I think it looks pretty sweet. This is unsized as mentioned, the bracelet flopping around a little bit. If it was tighter it would probably just be pulling the hairs out of my arms anyway. So as mentioned, 37mm diameter I think looks pretty good. Let's get it off this bracelet and get it on a couple of straps. Alright, and there it is on a little bit of ostrich. Now this one came from cheapestnatostraps.com. I then replaced the pretty poor standard buckle with an upgraded one. I think that looks good. I think this neutral one, the 809, the black with the sandblasted, you can pretty much get away with anything on this because there's monochrome dial means it's really very flexible. You can put a pop of colour on there if you like, but I suspect this watch will remain on most people's wrists on a NATO strap. Like this one. Kind of classic Bond here from Monkey Swag. Because the watch is less than 11mm thick, it still doesn't pop too much off the wrist when you've got it on one of these, you know, relatively thick NATOs. I like this one. Nice kind of matching brushed hardware, goes nicely with the sandblasted finish. Looks great. I suspect this would also look great on a kind of army green NATO also. So what are my negs then? What am I going to moan about today? Well, I suppose I've kind of covertly moaned about all of the major things. The first one being the bracelet. Now this bracelet, the K1 model, comes on this stainless steel bracelet. Relatively nicely finished, pretty simple, but rolled links, nips the hairs off your arms. It's got a security clasp, but it's only a rather flimsy looking press clasp. Seiko are notorious for doing this. They put the money in the watches, not the bracelets, which is I suppose a good thing. And this one, the reason that I didn't adjust it for my wrist today, I'm going to leave that pleasure to Nick, is that these links are pretty awful. I've already reviewed the SNK800 and I had a bit of a nightmare with these ones, so I'll leave that pleasure to Nick. The other option obviously is to go to the pictured K2 model. This one features a black nylon strap, but again it's not the best strap in the world, so choose the one you can find the best deal on and pretty much chuck away the original Seiko supplied strap or bracelet. 30 meters water resistance is going to limit you in some ways. You're not going to take this one swimming or for water sports, and as noted in the intro, Hardlex crystal is not nearly the same as sapphire. It will scratch up over time, you're pretty much guaranteed. But for around $60, there's just so much to like about this little Seiko. Love the clean dial. Love the fact that the day-date windows are in black, something they could and should have done on the SKX as well, but chose not to. I think that looks really classy. Little red tip on the second hand there adds a nice little bit of pop. If this is your first foray into automatic timepieces, or you're buying this one as a gift for somebody who's just getting into watches and who won't object to the slightly smaller size, I think this little Seiko is a classic. So there you have it, no great surprises from the little Seiko. Fantastic automatic movement, robust, reliable and remarkably accurate. Spot on Loom, but dodgy bracelet and hardlex crystal. You know what you're getting into when you buy one of these. Not as small as you might have thought either. Not as small as the 37mm that its advertised suggests. I quite like it. Maybe I'll buy one for future modifications myself. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.